know how in Roblox, there are so many people who end up doing wild things because of the game? Well, this is the story of Noah, a boy who went through something nobody could have imagined. It all started because he decided to meet up in real life with a girl he found inside the game. This story was sent to me by an anonymous follower who asked me not to share their name. But before I tell it, drop a like and subscribe to the channel, because I always bring you stories from Roblox. And honestly, every single one gets more shocking than the last. This Roblox player's name was Noah. He was 13 years old, almost 14, and just like a lot of kids his age, he spent hours and hours sitting in front of his computer. His escape from everything was Roblox, and especially one game called Brookhaven, which honestly wasn't even the main point.
The real point was that inside that game he could have his own house, his own car, virtual friends, and most importantly, a place where he didn't feel alone. Because at home, most of what he heard was his parents fighting. At school, Noah was a really quiet kid, kind of shy. He never really stood out. But in Roblox, everything was different. There, Noah had respect. He had friends who looked up to him. He had a whole life that he had built for himself. But little by little, he started caring more about the people inside Roblox than the people in his actual house. Time kept passing, and Noah stopped hanging out with his school friends. He stopped doing his homework. His mom would always yell up the stairs, "Noah, turn that computer off. You've been on there all day." And he'd answer, "Okay, Mom, I'm coming." But he never came. And that's really where everything started to go wrong. Noah's mom wasn't great at handling her own anger. Since she argued with Noah's dad all the time, she sometimes lost control completely, throwing things around the house without thinking. One day, she walked into Noah's room, shut the door, and grabbed him tightly, taking out all her frustration on him. It was just the first sign of what was still coming. Noah kept spending more and more time on Roblox, and that's where, on a Brookhaven server, he met a girl. In the game, her name was Mia. They started talking every single day, first just in the in-game chat, then they moved over to texting. The messages went on until super late at night. Voice notes, pictures, laughing at everything together. Noah felt something he had never felt before, like someone finally, actually understood him. Mia would say things like, "You're literally the only person who gets me, Noah. I want to meet you so bad." And he'd text back, "Me too. One day we're gonna meet, I promise." That one day slowly turned into an obsession. Mia lived in a different state, really far away, but Noah couldn't stop thinking about her. At school, he'd doodle her name in the corner of his notebook. At home, he'd just sit there, smiling at his phone screen. To him, Mia felt like the most real person in his whole life, even though they had never actually seen each other outside a screen. Until he had an idea that he really shouldn't have had. He remembered that his mom kept cash in her purse, which stayed in his parents' room. He thought about it over and over. He knew that if he got caught, he'd be in serious trouble, and he already knew exactly how his mom reacted when she was mad. But he wanted to see Mia. He wanted to turn that online Roblox friendship into something real. In his head, it felt like the only way he'd ever actually be happy. So he started taking small amounts of money from his mom's wallet. At first, he kept telling himself, "Just this once, I'll never do it again." But it wasn't just once. There was a second time, then a third, and before he even realized it, a fourth. He was saving every single dollar, with one goal in mind, buying a plane ticket to go meet Mia. Eventually his mom noticed money was missing. When she asked him what was going on, why money kept disappearing, Noah lied and said he had no idea what she was talking about. His mom got extremely worked up. Almost $200 was gone by then. She grabbed the first thing she could reach to let out her anger. It was a fan. The room was hot, so there was always a fan running. She grabbed it, it was about 3 feet tall, and hit him across the back with it. Over time, Noah changed a lot. He stopped going outside. His grades dropped fast. He started ignoring his friends when they invited him to play basketball. His dad tried talking to him. "Noah, what's going on with you? You don't even eat dinner with us anymore." But Noah would just mumble, "I'm fine, Dad." But he wasn't fine at all. He started locking his bedroom door more and more, terrified his mom would barge in to fight with him again. He'd stay locked in his room all day. But he wasn't just gaming in there, he was planning. He looked up flights, compared ticket prices, studied maps, and talked to Mia until 3 a.m., promising her over and over that he'd be there soon. People say that sometimes, while he slept, he dreamed he was already on the airplane, flying to go find her. But the worst part hadn't happened yet. One day, Noah's mom saw a bank alert on her phone, a charge for almost $800. It wasn't for Robux, it was for a plane ticket. She marched straight into his room. Noah, completely worked up, shouted back at her, "Don't you get it? She's literally the only person who actually cares about me. You have no idea what this means to me." His mom, with tears already running down her face, and completely overwhelmed with anger, grabbed the broom handle leaning behind the door. What happened in that room next was another moment where she completely lost control and let out every ounce of her frustration on him. After that, she took away his phone and his laptop. Noah screamed, slammed his door shut, and locked himself inside. Hours later, he remembered his old phone was still connected to the Wi-Fi. He sent one last message to Mia, "I'm coming to find you no matter what happens." What nobody realized was that he had already bought the ticket before his mom even found out about the bank charge. And the flight was leaving in just 2 days. Noah packed a backpack, grabbed whatever cash he had left, and slipped out of the house before sunrise without telling a single soul. He made his way to the airport, heart absolutely pounding, and boarded the plane. A 13-year-old boy, completely alone, flying to meet someone he only knew through a Roblox avatar. The flight took off just fine. Noah stared out the window, nervous but smiling. For the first time in a long time, he felt like he was finally doing something for himself. Then everything changed. About 2 hours into the flight, the plane started malfunctioning, passengers felt intense turbulence. The lights flickered on and off, the oxygen masks dropped down from above. Noah grabbed the seat in front of him with both hands, his heart practically jumping out of his chest. The pilot tried an emergency landing, but couldn't make it to the nearest runway in time. The plane went down into the ocean. The impact was violent. Noah felt freezing water rushing in everywhere. Screaming. Darkness. He wasn't a strong swimmer, but somehow he managed to grab onto a floating piece of wreckage. He stayed out there, in the middle of the ocean, shaking from the cold and the fear, for hours that felt endless. He cried. He screamed for help. He prayed, asking for his mom, for his dad. In that moment, Robux didn't matter at all. His house in Brookhaven didn't matter. Even Mia didn't matter anymore. The only thought running through his head was, "I want to go home. I want my mom." Rescue teams were sent out right away, helicopters searched the area for hours. Eventually, they found survivors, scattered among the wreckage. Noah was one of them. He was dehydrated, suffering from hypothermia, covered in cuts, but alive. They lifted him into a rescue helicopter, wrapped him in a thermal blanket, and rushed him to the nearest hospital. The news hit his parents like a bomb going off. They hadn't even known he'd left the house, let alone that he'd bought a plane ticket. When they saw on the news that the flight had crashed into the ocean, and that their son's name was on the passenger list, their whole world fell apart. His mom cried so hard she could barely breathe. His dad drove for hours straight to the hospital without stopping once. When they arrived and saw Noah lying there in the hospital bed, an IV in his arm, bandages everywhere, his eyes sunken, and his skin pale, his mom hugged him so tight it was like she was never going to let go. But, after the relief, came the anger. Once Noah was recovering, already able to sit up and talk normally, his mom shut the hospital room door, looked him straight in the eyes, and spoke in a voice he had never heard from her before. It wasn't yelling, it was something worse, the voice of a mother who had almost lost her son. And this time she didn't reach for a fan or a broom. She slapped his arm so hard it echoed down the hospital hallway, then again, and again. It wasn't really about punishing him, it was pure desperation from a mother who had seen her son's name on a plane crash passenger list without knowing if he was alive or not. Noah didn't react. He didn't scream, he didn't argue. He just sat there in silence, his eyes filling up with tears, because deep down, he knew.
He knew his mom wasn't wrong. He knew he had almost died. He knew he had done the most reckless thing of his entire life. Weeks later, once he was finally home, they gave him back his old phone. There were 47 messages waiting from Mia. He read every single one by one. He sat there staring at the screen for a long time, and then typed back just one message. "I'm alive, but I'm not doing this again. I'm sorry." He turned the phone off and set it down on the table like it didn't matter anymore. Nobody really knows for sure if Noah ever went back to playing Roblox, or if he walked away from it for good. But one thing's for certain, he never stepped foot on a plane again without his parents knowing exactly where he was. So, what do you think? Was it Noah's fault? His parents' fault? Mia's fault? Or was it Roblox's fault? Let me know down in the comments. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell, because there are always more wild Roblox stories coming your way. See you in the next one.